Hey there, it's Joycelyn Wells with Joy Exposed, and tonight is Wednesday, July 15th, 2020. And it's time for us to get started. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you so much. Let me get to where I can see what I need to see. Okay, there I am. All right. So, hey there. It's good to, glad you guys could join me. So, let's get started. So, tonight we're going to do three cheers of joy. But before we get to three cheers of joy, I just want to say if you have not followed me or subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Joycelyn Wells, just like that on YouTube. So, even if you do youtube.com/Joycelyn Wells, subscribe to my channel, please. Thank you. Subscribe. So much good information. All of the videos, the lives have been uploaded to YouTube. So that's a big deal for me. So thank you. And let's get started. So tonight, three cheers of joy is going to be brought to you by, I made some blueberry lemon water. You know, I've been a little more creative in the kitchen. We'll talk about that in a minute. So blueberry lemon water, and also some wine. So this is a Poppy, the same label Poppy, and they're on sale still. And this is a Cabernet Sauvignon. So that's the wine I'm having tonight. So three cheers of joy. Let's go. My first cheer of joy is the rain. So today we had this crazy ass rain, and I was going to try to avoid it. I was going to wait for it to stop or lessen, and then I didn't. I just came on and came home. But I was so grateful for it today because when the rain hit my skin, I felt so alive. When I felt the rain on me, I felt so alive. So that's my first cheer of joy, to the rain or being stuck in the rain. And it's been a long time since the rain has just kissed my skin, or I've just been stuck in it. In this COVID, we've been in the house and just stuck and wherever. But today the rain just literally kissed my skin. So I was very grateful for that. So my first cheer of joy is cheers to the rain. Let me see if I can see this on my page. That's not it. Shoot, where am I? Safari? Oh, there I am on Safari. I'm trying to see if I can see comments and stuff, but I'm looking for that right now. Yeah, so here we go. Hey, Travis. There we go. I can see comments here. All right. So that was my first cheer of joy, was the rain. So I was very grateful for that. My second cheer of joy, and I've talked about it before, is this vitamin that I take, and it's called SAMe. And I'll talk a little bit about it in a minute, but I'm so grateful for this vitamin. It literally changed my life, and I've been taking it for several years. And now I'll get off of it because I think I'm doing better, but then I get back on it because I realize that I'm not. So I'm really grateful for the SAMe because it just keeps me going. It keeps me alive. And I recommend it to anybody that's having any issues with moods or adjustments or mood swings or whatever. It's my go-to for recommendations. As soon as somebody starts telling me how they're feeling, I'm like, oh, take the SAMe, because I truly believe that it makes a difference in your life, right? So here's my SAMe on that. And then that's my second cheer of joy. So cheers to the SAMe. Cheers. My third cheer of joy is just I've been exercising every day this week, so I'm really grateful for the opportunity to exercise. That always makes a difference in my life. Keeps my mind going, so I've been pretty consistent. You guys know I've been working on that. So cheers to being able to exercise. So it's my third cheer of joy. My first cheer of joy was, what was it? Oh, being kissed by the rain. My first cheer of joy was being kissed by the rain. The second cheer of joy was my vitamins, the SAMe. And then my third cheer of joy was just, I've been exercising. So cheers to that. I'm going to celebrate that every time because it's a big deal for me to still be able to exercise and to keep going. Because with all this crap, it's so easy to not. So cheers to that. I hope you guys are drinking something yummy. I hope you're celebrating 3 amazing cheers of joy. I hope that you're giving yourself the benefit of the doubt to giving yourself patience and grace to get through all of this. Hi, Jason. Hey, Jay. Hi. Giving yourself patience and grace to get through all of this. That's a big deal. So I hope you guys are all able to, kind of hang on to that you are human. It is taking everybody time to get used to what's going on. All of that is fine. So there's no worries in that. And we're all struggling, trying to figure this moment out. And we'll get it. It's coming along, right? So let's see. My Facebook post of the week. I only have one that I shared this week, and it's on my page, and maybe you guys got to see it, but there's this I call her an athlete, but she has a dance studio and she does pole classes. Her name is Gina Ann. She is bad as F, like seriously, she's so bad. So I posted a video of her from yesterday, and I call her my Woman Crush Wednesday. And it was on Tuesday. I called her my Woman Crush Wednesday on Tuesday. And just watching her, how strong she is, how elegant she is on that pole, and just magnificent. It makes me want to be as elegant and just as elegant as her on there. It makes me want to do it. And I told her months ago that when I moved back to Atlanta that I was going to come study with her. And hopefully I will get to do that because she is so bad. So if you didn't get to see the video, it's on my Joy Exposed page and it's on my Joycelyn Wells page. So check her out and follow her. She's Georgia Chrome Studio up in Kennesaw. And she's got tons of great videos on there. And her students are great. She's patient. And the reason I love her is because she's grown up. She's got adult children. So that means she's grown up doing it. She's not on there little young teeny bopper. She on it for real. So I'm very pleased to see her and to watch her grace and her elegance. So, and that's my Facebook post of the week. And I chose that because she makes me feel empowered. And she'll post videos where she's messed up or she didn't do something the way she wanted. She's very vulnerable and transparent in what she's trying to do. And you can tell she's constantly working and trying. And that's why that was my Facebook post of the week, because even in the midst of a pandemic, she's still trying to get better and trying to get stronger and not getting caught up in the blah of it all. So that's my Facebook post of the week. So thank you to Gina Ann and Georgia Chrome for allowing me the opportunity to share that. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, subscribe. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but on my live today, it said I was feeling a little bit flirty. So I think oftentimes I forget that I'm a writer because I'm so new still. I'm only like 4 years old as a writer. Yeah, 4 years old as a writer. So, and it hasn't become all that I do. It's just something that I do. And I've got to work on that because it's 2020 and I haven't published a book this year. And I've been publishing a book a year. So that means I have to publish something this year just to stay in line. But oftentimes I forget I'm a writer and I fall back into that I'm not. And so today I kept saying that I needed to make an ad for my books. And I started reading. I was reading in one of my books, looking for something to post. And I read on the virtue of patience. And oh my God, that is one of the sexiest stories that I've written. And it's the virtue of patience. As a matter of fact, hold on a second, I'm sorry. As a matter of fact, I'm going to read a little smidgen of it now because I was, and it's on my page. And if you've already read my book, then you've probably read it. But this is out of my first book, The Virtues of Joy, the very first one. So I'm going to read this to see. Let's see. Okay. It's so the virtue is called patience, and I'll give you some a little background. So Joy, the character Joy, has connected with this guy that she met from years before, and she asked him to give her a bath. And so it was, so here it starts. It says, it was him, Ghost. My first thought was, how long had he been standing there? Laughing nervously to myself, I covered my breast with my right arm, hand over left nipple while pressing my forearm to show the right. He just stood there. We locked eyes in the mirror, no words, no eye movement. We stared. I have no idea what either of us was thinking, or even if we were thinking. Is this a staring contest? Or are we or are we willing the other to make a move? Something moved between us, causing him to step forward. It was a force, an energy, or something. I, in all of my naked glory, thought he was coming to me. I inhaled a deep breath, closed my eyes, and braced myself. I felt a gentle movement of the air around me, and then I heard a sound. Not the music lightly traveling from the front room, but a soft gurgling, pure, fresh, as the air changed slightly. I stood I still stood untouched. What is that? Oh, yes, bath. Oh, yes, the bath water. I smiled, remembering I asked for a bath. He left the bathroom, uttering something about coming right back. I stood there and released the makeshift cover from my breast. With a smirk and giggle, I thought, let me check the temperature of the water. It was nice, warm, wet. Hell, it was water. I thought, I do believe that I will increase the temperature just a bit. There now, that's just right. As I stood up, decidedly to venture into the front room to retrieve my drink and the music. Ghost poked his head in the bathroom, voice so smooth and deep. Joy? I replied, yes, sir. He asked, is there a knife in here? Are you going to kill me with it? I know, reader, crazy, right? But we can laugh now. I was dead ass serious. Remember, I don't know this N word. Ghost laughed and replied, good one, but if I were going to kill you, I wouldn't need a knife. I'm about to submerge you in a tub of hot water. Touche. I laughed out loud and replied, so very true. There should be a knife in the drawer or the pantry of the kitchenette. If not, I'll call the front desk. He left. I walked out naked. At this point, I'm the only one thinking about my nakedness. He's in there killing the whatever with a knife. So mission accomplished, drink in hand, music relocated closer to the tub. For whatever reason, I slipped into my wedges. It just felt right. I strolled into the bedroom, gathered a couple of post-bath items, lotion, oil for my hair, scarf, and as an afterthought, I placed 2 condoms on the nightstand. I know, I only asked for a bath, but maybe afterwards I'll ask for a fuck. Don't judge me. Ghost spoke. You ready? How on God's green earth does this man keep entering my space without me feeling him? Are our energies in balance? Have we manifested an us space? I pivoted on my heels, looked at him, relaxed even more, and replied simply, yes. I followed him into the bathroom. As I entered the room, I noticed the light was less dim even. Ghost had removed a couple of the bulbs. Check that shit out. He's created some ambiance. Yay, you. I commented something like, very nice, I like, at which time he reached for my foot. Ha! He did notice the addition of the shoes. I loved it. I was having a blast in my head. Too funny. After removing both shoes, he reached a hand to help me in the tub. I slowed my step when I noticed something in the tub. I inhaled and focused my eyes. I said, is that lemon? He answered, and lime. Well, all right, Ghost. He is just as serious about this bath as I am. Well, with my hand in his, I stepped easily into the water as if being led to a baptismal. The water wasn't even a foot deep, but we both moved so gently. I guess neither one of us wanted to lose even a drop of this thoughtfully prepared and purified water. As I eased into the bath to a sitting position, Ghost kneeled by the side of the tub. Music playing, words lost between the steam, lemons, lime, and our individual thoughts of how to proceed, I slid forward to lay back and relax. As I lay back, he placed a towel between my head and the wall. It was then that I realized he was responding to me. Yes, I know I asked for this, but hell, it was my first time. I didn't know what to do, but I am a quick study. So I lay there, eyes closed, trying to regulate my breathing and paying close attention to the rise and fall of my chest. Ghost continued to kneel patiently. by the tub for several minutes. As I breathed in, I lifted my right arm and placed it on the edge of the tub. As if on cue, he picked up a washcloth, dipped it in the water, and began to squeeze water from the cloth onto my breast and along the length of my exposed arm. We didn't speak another word in a time that felt like forever. I'm sure in his mind I became his favorite car or motorcycle. He squeezed lemon and lime into all my nooks and crannies. He soaped his cloth and washed my soft pockets of flesh. Then he rinsed and started all over. As he washed my ears, he took great care not to wet my hair as he straightened the decorative gauge on the right. He washed each finger separately. He lifted my arms to wash the under area. I thought briefly, do I need to shave? My breasts were lifted and washed underneath. He washed from my thighs to my toes, 1 foot at a time, and the soles of my feet. So that's the excerpt that I put on, it's on my blog, but there's a link for it on my page. And that's just an excerpt from Patience. And it's funny because that was the first story that I wrote in trying to write my book and start, not even knowing that I was writing a book. I wrote about the virtue of patience. I actually read it to my lover on a day trip we spent together, and I read that to him, and I just thought, what a great story to read. And it wasn't even finished, and he asked me to finish it. So I came across that today while I was trying to figure out what to share and creating an ad, and I felt so overwhelmed at the luxuriousness of it, the words and the thoughts conjured up and the vision and the how good the words felt reading them in my mind. So it helped to remind me that I was a writer, that I am a writer. So I have to make sure that I keep that at the forefront and not lose it because it's new. So I'm going to have to focus on that. So if you haven't read my book, The Virtues of Joy, it's available on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and my website. If you order it directly from me, I can autograph it and send it to you. If you order from Barnes and Noble or Amazon, then I'll just autograph it when I see you, right? So I keep a pen for those special occasions. So I'm going to I hope you guys get to go and read it, and I hope you kind of play around on my blog too. There's so much good information there, so much yumminess, and thank you for giving me that time to read that because that wasn't even my intention, but I felt compelled to share it just because it's so sexy, and I do feel flirty today. I felt beautiful today. I felt like getting dressed today. I put on actual clothes, linen pants, and a nice blouse and heels when I left and went to the library. I mean, it was raining buckets when I left, so you know that meant I carried my shoes in my hands to the car. But I still felt so good this morning when I woke, and then coming across that, it was almost like just kind of stroking my soul, just reminding me that I was alive and that I'm human and I'm a woman and I'm sexy and I'm fun and I'm delicious and I want deliciousness. All of those kind of things just kind of coursed through me today. And then once that rain hit my skin, it was just like, it was everything. It was like the peak of all the goodness that I was feeling. So much, in fact, that when I got home and got dried off and laid on the bed, I went to sleep. It was almost like I was just a good release. So, you know, it was a pleasure. That was pleasurable for me. And I haven't had any pleasurable days like that in a while. I haven't felt that alive, that sexuality that, I mean, I always have sexuality, but I haven't felt it with being in the midst of COVID, what that feels like. So it's a big deal, you know, it's a big deal for me. And today was a good day. So thank you guys for letting me read that, you guys. And I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to read more, let me know. There's more. There's another virtue on my blog called Generosity. That's the one I usually read when I go live places. I read The Virtue of Generosity. That's always fun. And let's see, what else? I'm not frozen to you guys, am I? I hope not. Yeah, I don't know if I am or not. I can't tell. All my technology runs together. All right, so let me keep going. Don't forget YouTube. I have to keep reminding myself to say that. YouTube. You can follow me, subscribe to my YouTube channel, or you follow me on SoundCloud, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, Pandora, man, iTunes. So anywhere you can get a podcast, you can get Joy Exposed. So that's a big, big deal. That's a big deal. So please subscribe and follow me in some of those places. All right. I mentioned just a minute ago that I have a blog, and I put a lot of my writing, my kind of spontaneous writing in my blog. So that's a lot of fun. It's available on my website, joycelynwells.com. I don't really have a lot of events happening right now because COVID. That's all I got is fucking COVID, right? So since that, our segue to COVID, a lot of cities, states are moving back to phase 1 because the numbers are so high. So we were doing really well trying to manage it. Places started opening up so quickly. And now all of a sudden we're back just about at square one with more deaths, more people affected by it, with the disease, with the virus, right? So we have to make sure that we stay safe. And I'm really concerned about that because we don't really have any control over what other people do. We only have control over what we do. How do we protect ourselves? How do we keep ourselves safe? And I'm really struggling with that right now because I just found out that I go back to work in 2 weeks. And we're going to see how that goes. So I'm really concerned about what that looks like for me going back to work. I'm afraid. I'm excited because I've been off since March, but I'm kind of afraid because does that mean I'm walking to my death? How do I stop myself from getting COVID? How do I stop myself from dying? This is a profession that I chose, and you know, the reason behind me choosing it is because it's something that I love, not because I was forced into it. I love it. So I love being an educator, and now I have to go back. And so I have to figure out if this is going to be worth it to me. If this is what's going to happen, pretty much. And I'm going to do, of course, everything I can to stay safe. The mask, we don't know all the guidelines of what the schools are saying we need to do, what the district is saying we need to do, but I guess I'm going to find out on the 31st. That's for sure. I'm kind of worried about that. All right, so let's see what's hot in the news in the past week. So there was a big thing about children being trafficked by Wayfair furniture store. And sex trafficking and trafficking children is a big deal. Has been hundreds of thousands of kids go missing every year in the United States, just come up missing. And they made a connection with Wayfair, the home furnishings store. It's online, wayfair.com. I don't know if they have any brick and mortars, but I know they're online. They have a lot of furniture, home furnishings, and office furniture. So there's been a big, some people are calling it a conspiracy theory, but they're saying that they were selling kids by using their products, naming the products after the kids, and then selling them for like $15,000. And Twitter has been going wild on the Wayfair sex trafficking, the Pizzagate, which involves tons of people. A lot of it ties back to that Jeffrey Epstein guy who was murdered in jail or committed suicide, whatever happened to him. A lot of it ties back to him. And I guess it just kind of goes to say, like, and I said this, I might have talked about trafficking our children a year ago, and I don't really know a child who's come up missing. I don't know, but there's so many people in the United States that you can literally not know somebody's come up missing. So, and I don't know anybody that's missing, but from my understanding is that if somebody is caught up in prostitution, any sex for money, that's still a part of the trafficking. So if that's the case, I do know money. No, I know people who have uh, been in prostitution, who has had sex for money. Like now, those things I do know. But when I think about trafficking, I think about somebody literally being picked up and moved and vanished, right? But when you talk about sex for money or those type of things, and I do know that that has happened, and I am aware that has happened. But the idea behind Wayfair, the furniture company, and these children missing is that they're naming their furniture after the kids and then charging all this money for it. Storage cabinets, pillows, shower curtains, crazy. I think I'll put that on my Joy Exposed if you guys want to look through there and read some of the Twitter feed on that, because that's bananas. You would never even think of how creative people are. And they're trying to make money off of kids. Whether it's true or not, I don't have anything to substantiate or validate it. I only have the information that I read from Twitter, and we know that Twitter can be brutal and honest, brutally honest. That's what Twitter can be. And but it's a lot of people connected to it. They said that Ellen DeGeneres is connected to it. Barack Obama is connected to it. Legend, what's John Legend's wife name? Chrissy Teigen, they say she's connected to it. You know, so there's tons of people that are all connected to this conspiracy or to this idea of the trafficking these children. And then there's another thing where they were saying that people were using like some kind of enzyme or hormone or something from kids, newborns, to inject in their skin to help them continue to look younger. And I only heard a snippet of a video with somebody talking about why you puncture the skin through this process called microneedling, which is interesting. I'll tell you about that in a second. Through microneedling, and then you take this almost a serum that's taken from these kids. I don't know if they're alive or dead, and people are massaging them into their face to keep their face looking young. And so one of the questions now is that when you look at all these celebrities after they've been inside from COVID and they're starting to age rapidly, and you can see the changes in their skin, they're saying that it's because they can no longer have access to whatever this is that they were getting. So there's a lot going on with that. And my daughters have spent countless hours. My oldest daughter says she's been down the rabbit hole doing research on it, trying to put it all together, find out about it. So she's been looking at that for weeks now, you know. But, you know, that's, to me, it's just scary to think that somebody's going to sacrifice a child for them to look younger, you know, and maybe you guys are listening and maybe it's not new to you. Maybe it's something that you're familiar with, but I had never heard of such. I know that people use creams and ointments and plastic surgery and facelifts and all that. I know people do that to try to look younger, but the idea of using a child and injecting whatever that hormone is into their skin just seems a bit much for me, especially when we act like that we don't get to stay, that we're supposed to live forever. And I think the United States, we're probably one of the only countries that feel like we're going to live forever, because we're not, of course. But we do that. That's our whole healthcare system is fucked up because people trying to live forever instead of embracing the idea of death. So there's that. All right, about the process of microneedling. It's so funny as I'm talking, I really feel myself in this very chill ass relaxed space. And it's kind of my sexy space. This is where I am when I feel really sexy and warm. And this is where, and I told you guys I felt that earlier today, and I can hear it in my words as I'm talking now. I'm just very syrupy, laid back, chilling. I feel good. So I'm just, never mind. I just felt that. Anyway, the micro needling. So I started researching this week. I was trying to do some stuff for my stomach to get to work on the cellulite in my stomach and my butt. Cause you know, I'm getting I'm 50, so I have some. So I found this process that's microneedling, where you take this little roller and you roll it across your stomach, and you really puncture the skin. But after you do it, you take a serum. For me, it's the collagen, and I massage it in. And you damage your stomach so much doing it that you only do it like every 3 to 4 weeks. So when I do it tomorrow, I'm not going to do it again for 3 weeks. And then I do that for like 6 months to see the changes. And it's supposed to smooth your stomach out, get rid of like stretch marks, and to make your stomach look smooth. So when you have on like a little top to show part of your stomach, or you're naked and whatever, it just makes your stomach look a little smoother and not as jiggly. And that's, I've talked about, I'm jiggling more because I'm getting older. So I'm going to do that. So the reason I bring that up is because I talk about, as soon as I started talking about the microneedling, it came to my attention about this video where they're talking about these actors and celebrities are using the same process, but they're using it for some infants, something, hormones or whatever they're taking out of the infants and putting it into, rubbing it into themselves, or putting it, injecting it into themselves or whatever. And I thought that was really interesting that I was able to come across this process and spend so much time studying it for it to come up. And then I was immediately familiar with what it was when I had never heard of it before, right? So I'd never heard of it before that. And then once I heard of it, then it became relevant in another space. So I was very happy that I did do that studying in that and learning about it, so that when that topic came up, I could participate in the conversation. So I'll keep you guys posted. I'll post a picture of my tummy so you guys can see it before and after. And we're going to see how this thing works. We're going to see over 6 months, because that'll put me into what? Let's see, what month is this? July, August, September, October, November, December, January. Give me 6 months to see what I can come up with my tummy. And of course, by no means am I trying to look young or younger. I'm just trying to be a little bit firmer. I just want to not have as many dimples and stuff. And I'm probably more critical of myself than anybody else. We all do pay more attention to things about us and critical where other people don't even see it. So this is definitely a me thing. I'm doing it because I want to. And amazing, because it's comfortable as I am in my skin, and just to want to do this, that's only going to just make me more just vibrant and just kind of solidify that thing. So, but anyway, so there's that. Now, I'll keep you guys posted. If it works, you guys can try it too. I'll tell you what I did. It's no secret. I looked it up online. Study. Always learning something. While we're talking about that, this vitamin I take, I don't know if you can see it. It's called Sam E Complete. The light. Oh, there we go. Sam E Complete. This vitamin that I take, and I've been taking it for years. And it's called a mood enhancer. That's what it used to say. It doesn't say that anymore, but it does. Liver. Works for liver health, joint health, supports a healthy mood and emotional well-being, and joint comfort, and also liver health. And those things are important to me because, I drink. So my liver processes alcohol, stomach processes wine, right? So it was a big deal for me when I was drinking to have something that I could kind of try to flush my liver a little bit, because you don't regenerate those cells. That's why people get cirrhosis, because the cells don't regenerate of the liver. So what you got is what you got. So anyway, I take it for that too. But the main thing is, like, when I was in that crazy space in my life, and it's on and off, it doesn't stop. It's just recognizing, I think. And no, the SAMe is a hormone that your body produces. And when it's not producing enough for whatever reason, you can go into these little downward spirals emotionally. And when I'm in that uneasy place, or I'm not taking this vitamin, it feels like inside of me there's a storm happening and I can't do anything about it. And I'm erratic and mean and whatever. So I found this SAMe, and I started taking it probably 97, 98. It was before my divorce. So yeah, so probably 97, 98, I started taking it. And I remember taking it just to try something because I needed to fucking try something. I needed something to keep me from jumping, right? And so I started taking it, and like 2 days after, I remember sitting there and like a whole calm just settled over. My thoughts weren't racing. I wasn't uneasy. I didn't feel compelled to argue and jump into people's shit. I can literally, I'd say this all the time. When I'm doing my yoga and I'm on the Sammy, I could literally watch a building burn and not even flinch. I literally, like, that's how controlled you are, because it almost helps you to remember this ain't got nothing to fucking do with me, and shit just happens. Well, I don't even know if it's a downside, but that also lends for people to say that you act like you don't care or whatever, and that shit don't matter because you're protecting yourself. So I stand by this, Sammy, and they have not sponsored me to talk about this, but I recommend it. And most recently, my oldest daughter started taking it, and she would have crazy outbursts. And men, you probably know this because you deal with women, and women, you know it because you're a woman. During those hormonal ups and downs, ovulation and period, women lose their shit. Like, we get irate and crying and da 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 da. You can mark it on the calendar when it's going to happen. And my daughter would get so blah, and then her boyfriend would call me, Mom, I don't know what to do, and da, da. So it was this whole thing. And I told her one day, I said, look, I've told you this before, I'm gonna tell you again, you got to start taking the Sammy. You got to start taking the Sammy. And that day she went and looked for it, and on Amazon. She's like, okay, I'm ordering it, it'll come tomorrow. I said, start taking it, give it a couple of days, but don't miss any, just keep taking it. So that's for her has been about 5 weeks ago. And so we talked today, and she's talking about how she hasn't had any meltdowns. Like, it's literally that kind of thing stops you from having these meltdowns. It probably stops people from taking those prescription medications too, for if you know someone that they say they're bipolar, or they have these kind of emotional things happening. It's really a wonderful, wonderful supplement to take. And I hands down recommend it. And I keep it. I don't miss a dose. I take it first thing in the morning because I know it makes me feel good, not even for the other person. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel balanced, and for me to own my actions and my words and my emotions. So I wanted to talk about that. I talked about my microneedling, and I thought I'd share my Sammy with you guys too. For those of you who just joining, don't forget, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Subscribe, blah, 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 blah. Subscribe. Thank you. All right, let's see. What else was I going to talk about tonight? Let me think. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about. There was a thing with Will and Jada Smith. So their recent publicity, right? So it sounds, I didn't watch the Red Table. I don't want to watch it. But it sounds like that Will and Jada had an issue when Jada had a relationship with somebody that they both built trust with, right? So they said they were separated, and she had this relationship, and it doesn't seem to be a problem for them because the person who started talking about it was the young man and that she had the relationship with. And I think that we've talked on here before about our personal responsibility of keeping people younger than us, keeping the children safe. So I don't tell anybody how to do or what to do. I just simply say, when someone's significantly younger than you have to, whether they're 18 or 22 and you're 40, it doesn't matter. You have to understand that your responsibility as an adult is to not fuck them up, not add to their bag of fucked upness. That's what we have to understand. So This young man came out talking about it. He probably needed to talk about it. He probably felt love for her. He wanted to be with her, whatever. He talked about it. And, and that was a thing. And so everybody started talking about it after that. And it doesn't really matter. You have to listen to the children when the children talk. Like, it doesn't matter. The children are going to talk because they're not mentally or emotionally equipped to deal with it. And people were saying he shouldn't have told, he shouldn't have told. He had to tell because that's what he had to do. He isn't to a space where he can internalize and keep it. He's not there yet. He wants what he wants, and he'll have a temper tantrum and burn shit down to get it. Those are childlike behaviors. We have to give children the space to have their childlike behaviors. So we can't force him into an adult mental space because she's there and because it was good, right? They probably both enjoyed it. And people have a tendency to think that having extramarital affairs or sex with somebody else while you're in a relationship is a secret. Well, it's only a secret until it's not, so there's not really anything, there's not any glory in it. And if you don't go around telling your business, of course, but when there's somebody younger than you and there's somebody not as grown up as you or emotionally as settled as you, whatever, they have a hard time processing that information. It's like robbing a bank with someone. You may have robbed 10 banks, but it's their first bank. They gonna want to talk about that shit. Whether you tell them, don't tell anybody, they're gonna talk about it. That's how people find out. That's a rule of thumb in my classroom. I tell the kids all the time. When you do dirt with somebody, somebody's gonna find out. Well, they not gonna find out if ain't nobody gonna tell. Somebody's gonna tell. That's how you have to really, that's how I handle all of my things. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be on the up and up and open, because if I'm hiding and ducking and dodging, somebody's gonna tell. It's also a rule of thumb for me to do shit on my own. If I can move singularly and do all my bullshit, then it's going to be less likely that there's an issue. And it's also part of the reason why I don't fuck up the children. It doesn't matter how old or what kind of job or money or whatever. When I was single, I didn't fuck with the children. I didn't. And I've met some amazing young men who can tell me all these wonderful things they're going to do, but that was never a goal of mine, to fuck with the children. And I'd speak very highly about the kids because they have to grow up, and we have to, as the adults, have to not give them so much baggage to carry because we are being selfish in our handling of them or our use of them. So that's a big deal for me. And fuck with the kids. So whether you're an older woman fucking with a young man, and I know that's like the dream come true. I had a conversation about this a couple of weeks ago. Some men can't handle it. And if you're an older man fucking with a young child, a young woman, don't fuck her up because she's not going to be able to handle it. Like, she can't handle it. She won't mentally be able to separate what you're telling her from what she wants. And that's the beauty of being a child, for being young and in that adolescent developmental space, that you can't just, you can say it, but emotionally you just can't do it, right? I remember when I was teaching high school in Smyrna, Georgia, outside of Atlanta. I was teaching high school there. And this guy I met, he was in a motorcycle club, and he wanted to take me out. And it's an older guy. So it wasn't a young guy, it was an older guy. He was actually older than me. And he was in like a Corvette club or something. He wanted to take me out. So I was like, okay, that's cool. And we met for like a lunch or something. And he and I were talking, and he said something like, well, how do you do it? And I said, how do I do what? And he says, how do you work there at the high school? And I said, easy. I teach chemistry. Like, what do you mean? He says, I mean, I'm looking at you and you're beautiful and fine. And I know those young boys try to get at you. And I was like, what? He said, I know those young men trying to get at you and they talking games. So how you work around that? I was like, the fucking children? I guess, like, are you talking about the students or are you talking about the staff? He's talking about the students. I was like, They're my students. Well, that don't stop them from. So I was looking at him, I said, but I stop them. If somebody steps to me out of pocket, it's my job to correct them in an adult space, not to go where they are. So that, I don't look at them like that. He was like, well, I know I couldn't teach those little fine girls walking around. And I was like, check, please. Cause I was like, this motherfucker is crazy. Like, so you literally, and you guys know people, I'm sure that you've met men or women that their thing, the young people, and you have to think these some crazy motherfuckers that are, they can't deal with people their own age, socially inept, probably. It's easier to deal with somebody that you can manipulate or take advantage of. And that's a huge problem for me. So um I and that's it. I just was looking at him like, you've got to be sick as hell to say that out loud. But he felt like it was perfectly natural, normal. So that let me know that this man, who was shit 50 then, was okay with him when he looks at the young girls and he thinks and about all of these things. For me, I'm like, you're an adult, and I don't care that 18 is not a fucking magic number. As an adult, we have to maintain the roles that we're in because we're adults. When my faceless love came to town and we went to visit my daughter dancing at this strip club, I took him with me to the strip club to see my daughter dancing. And one of my friends was like, well, he's going to see her. And what if he looks at her and he's interested in her? And I was like, if he's fucking interested in her, he's not interested in me. Like, I'm talking, this a grown ass, we're grown-ups, we're adults. If my man is interested in my child, if this man that I'm interested in is interested in my child, that says he's not the fucking man for me, because there's a separation in who you are and who these children are. There's not a go back and forth between. And I know many of you may disagree with me on that, but I'm going to tell you something. When you have to deal with the mental abuse or misuse caused by somebody older than you for the rest of your life, you would halt your horses and fucking up people. You would think twice about getting involved in these superficial sexual relationships and that's what they are, a carnal relationship. Because it's not like you guys are having some deep philosophical discussions about any goddamn thing. You're talking about where you want to eat, and you're talking about what you want to buy from the store, and you're fucking. That's it. Like, these are very superficial relationships. But when you get stuck in those spaces, basic ideas of needs, when you get stuck there, it's damaging less to the older person than it is to the younger person, because the younger person still needs to be able to move and still needs to be able to grow and get to a place of being of their purpose. So we really have to pay attention to that. So whatever happened with Will and Jada on the red table, at the red table, that's fine. That's two adult people in their marriage discussing something on a platform that's meant for millions of people to watch. Two actors having a conversation for people to watch. That's important to understand. What you're not going to see is Jada having a conversation with August about it. That's not going to be at the red table, because August is not going to be able to have the conversation that will be required to maintain some sense of decency or decorum or adulthood at the fucking table. That's the key right there, because he won't be manipulated in front of the cameras. He's already said what he was going to say on his own. Jada sat with her husband and they talked about it. But August can't have an adult conversation about it because he can't mentally do that. He's not in a space to separate what he shared with her and how she shares with her husband. And you guys see this all the time. If you're married and you step out on your spouse, male or female, the person you stepping out with is so hung up on the sex part of it, the way that you guys share, they want you to literally walk away from your marriage to be in this space with them. When this space is a superficial space. It's a superficial space. Adults can understand that. Grown-ups can understand it. It doesn't make it right. It just means you can understand what's happening. But emotionally, you still want to remove this person from this other space to come and exist in this moment with you. And it doesn't happen. Or when it happens, it becomes another mess, right? So we have to be very careful in losing ourselves in these basic moments of need, because they don't last, or they shouldn't last. And you shouldn't leave your relationship because the sex is good. If you mess around and sex is good, that's not a reason to leave your relationship that you're in, because it's just sex. It has to be something on such a deeper level, emotionally, and just connection, that you feel like you're better in the space, that this is making you a better person for you to walk away from it. Otherwise, you still stay where you are. You hear it all the time when people say men don't leave. Men will have 100 mistresses, probably not 100, but they'll have a mistress every now and then or whatever, and they still won't leave their marriage because the marriage is more secure for them and they have more invested in that, and it's not worth it to leave the marriage just because they've met somebody that they like and they're sharing with. That's a hard pill to take, but it's the truth. And women who find themselves in this situation women or men who find themselves in the situation as the other person, have to decide what's the best thing for them: to stay in it and continue to get what they can get, or to leave and to go and grow on their own. So it's definitely a difficult space to be in. And that's where August is. I think when he had his conversation, he also said he has a new album coming out. So maybe he's trying to free himself of the shit he was trying to keep private. Who knows? Nobody knows why people do the things that they do, or why they tell when they hadn't told before. Nobody knows. But whatever it was, good for him. Good for him for telling. Good for him for ridding himself of that, probably a weight that he felt like he was carrying. And he'll probably never get to have the conversation that he wants to have about it. And he'll probably never get what he wants to get from it. So for you listeners and for me, we have to understand that the role that we play in the lives of our youth, they're watching us. They're watching us for leadership. They're watching us for guidance. They may be attracted to us, but we have to be the ones to take care and to not misuse the space that they're in. Honestly, I'm 50. I don't know if I think when I was single, oh gosh, I wrote about it in my book. I met a young man who was 20 something at a club, and I didn't know he was 20 something until after I'd given him my number. And that was it. I was like, oh no, you can tell your daddy to call me, but no, sir. No, I'm not even interested, right? That's me knowing enough about myself to understand that I'm not raising anybody's kids. I'm not talking to anybody's kids, anybody like they're a kid. These are all the guidelines we have to put on ourselves, because we have to make sure that we protect people moving forward, especially the youth, not grown-ups, right? So not the grown-ups, but the youth that are 20 years younger than us, 30 years younger than us, and they trying to get on, or you don't look your age, and da-da-da. Man, forget that. It might as well ask for an adoption certificate, because that's what you're going to end up with, another child, male or female, it doesn't matter. So that's pretty much what I wanted, the point that I wanted to address from the Jada and August and Will perspective. It doesn't matter what the husband and wife said to each other, how they described it, how she described it. None of that matters. What matters is the fact that there is a young man that's been in a manipulative situation with an adult that he's going to carry with him for the rest of his life. And that's not fair. And Jada is well spoken. She's beautiful. She's smart. And however she wants to categorize it or talk about it and rationalize it in her mind, it doesn't take away from the fact that there's another person attached to it that can't do that yet. And that's what we have to be very careful with that when we deal with the children. So this is Joycelyn Wells with Joy Exposed. And remember, I'm feeling flirty tonight. And thank you guys for joining me. I was drinking Poppy Cabernet Sauvignon. And I guess I'll see you guys next week. It's 10 o'clock already. I'll see you guys next week. So wear your face mask. Please use your hand sanitizer. Keep yourself safe. Keep your family safe. Make your smart choices. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. And remember, when joy is exposed, everything just feels better. Here's to a flirty week. Mwah. Bye.